and let's tip it. Hello and welcome to Prestige Worldwide. Up for review today, we have the Wera Kraftform and Craftform Plus screwdriver sets. The green or teal handled screwdrivers are the Wera Kraftform. These have the laser tip, which provide an enhanced traction on fasteners. That's on the slotted, and it's also on the Phillips. We can do a tip challenge here and see if that thing will stay horizontally, and it sure does. You can angle it down. It is pretty solid in that number 2 Phillips screw. It goes almost upside down on the tip challenge. So in the set for the green ones, the Craftform, you get the following screwdrivers. You get number 1 Phillips, number 2 Phillips, and the length on these is 100 millimeters. That would be your shaft or blade length here. 100 millimeters. So that's about 10 centimeters, or for those good old people in the US of A, it's 4 inches. You know, here in America, never mind, sorry. Or 3 1/4 for the, I guess this is a 75, sorry, 80 millimeter. So it's Phillips head 1 times 80, 80 being the, the length there. It actually says laser tip on it. The handles on these are outstanding. They have sort of a contoured to sort of like the bones in your hands, so to speak. Like these kind of go in between your fingers, and then the palm, like this big palm swell here. You can just really get a good grasp on these. Separately, I also have a, I bought this separate from JB Tools. This is a 1/4 inch bit driver with a 120 millimeter shaft on it. And this one happens to be a hex shaft, which is going to be similar when we get to these yellow ones to the Craftform Plus. All right, so these Weras are made in the Czech Republic by a company in Germany. The weight on these is it's pretty light. They don't feel a whole lot different in terms of weight compared to like a Pittsburgh. In fact, the Pittsburgh might even weigh more. But what these give you is they're built very well. The shaft is going to be lined up very nicely, whereas some cheaper screwdrivers, the shaft might not be lined up directly into the handle. You have a bi-material design. This teal color is actually rubberized, and then the black is the sort of a hardened plastic. So you get the rubberized dual material in there in these recesses of teal color. It has a hexagonal section right here to keep it from rolling. It works really well. And also the handle has similar sort of contouring. It's more of a circle, so to speak. They have some nice printing on the ends of these with your sizes. So there's our Phillips 1, Phillips 2, our 4 millimeter slotted, our 5.5 millimeter slotted, 3 millimeter. I don't know what the comma is for. I guess over in Europe they use a comma instead of a decimal. So that's like 5.5, even though it's 5.5. I guess that's just how they do it in Germany. They use commas instead of dots. It is what it is. That's the world we live in, you know. I guess it's not terrible. I get what they're trying to say, 6.5. It just looks funny. But it is nice. They've got yellow on the slotted and red on the Phillips. Nicely done, Wera. I'm very happy with the set. I got it on sale on Amazon for like $27, and it's, other than Vessel's probably my favorite. So like here's a Vessel Impacta. This one would be more comparable to the Craftform Plus here because of your striking cap, but we'll get to those yellow ones here shortly. This is a Vessel Impacta. I don't like the handle nearly as good as the Wera. So I would say Wera does win from the handle. Of course, this one's JIS. This one is standard Phillips. So there's a difference there. Okay, let's look at the Craftform Plus, the yellow ones. And this is another 6-piece set. Similar to the standard Craftform, they give you 2 Phillips, a number 2 by 100 millimeter, and a number 1 by 80. So same sizes as the other one. We don't have our commas and numbers and stuff on the backside because there's a steel striking cap. These are a full tank construction. They have a hex bolster here in case you needed to get more leverage and put a wrench on that when you're tightening a tough fastener. These have a different tip to them. They have what it says on the website, it's a hardened steel. They say it's a complex hardening process, and this is the black point tip is what their marketing says. It's heat treated in a different way right here on the last few millimeters, or in America we would say the last quarter inch or so. All right, so number 2 Phillips, number 1 Phillips, and then you're slotted. This is a 3.5 millimeter slotted, a 4.5 millimeter slotted, so that's 4.5. All right, and 5.5 millimeter slotted, and a 7 millimeter slotted. So this big slotted, these things are magnetic too. It's picking up some of the, this is some of the the metal from the dead blow hammer that I had investigated and cut open the other day. So there's some metal shavings on the table. This thing picks up those metal shavings. All right, so we've got, well, it'll pick up small pieces of metal, but not so much on, okay, so this one, this number 2 Phillips is somewhat magnetic. This one's somewhat magnetic, but just a little jostle and it comes off. Let's test these standard Craftform, and not really magnetic. Although I think it'll hold a screw upside down just fine. So these are similar in terms of they have dual materials here in the handle. The yellow is similar to the teal in terms of its texture. It's rubberized. It's the same material, just dyed a different color. The hardened plastic here seems to be the same as the standard Craftform. Striking cap on everything except for the little tiny mini-me one. I guess if you need to really get into something, you would pick a larger version. So striking cap, non-striking cap. All of them have a hex shaped shank and a hex bolster, except for the tiny one. And let's see how the tip test goes with these. Now this one seems to be somewhat magnetic because it's picking up shavings too, but it almost wants to pick up that screw, but not quite. It's not very magnetic. And let's tip it. Yeah, so this stays in the number 2 screw very well. Here's the number 1 Phillips. Obviously it's a number 2 screw, but in a pinch, this thing would probably work fairly good for fasteners that aren't extremely tight. Okay, so that will wrap up our Wera Kraftform, the teal kind, and the Craftform Plus screwdrivers. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.